colder nights, areas of fog, and a few more changes before our next system rolls through the high desert. Hey everyone, good evening. It is Tuesday, November the 18th. I'm Darrell Winninger, Chief Meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News, and we are about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Look at what's been happening, what is on deck, and how this next system is really going to impact us right here on the high desert. So buckle up, it's going to be fun. We're going to start things off with just how it looks across the high desert. We do have a mixture of clouds and some clearing. Also, areas of fog are already starting to develop, and you can see that limited visibility through a couple of our cameras, most of which are the Oregon Hazards Lab cameras. And there are a couple of other ones that are actually showing a whole lot more cloud cover. But I gotta say, this Lake Billy Chinook camera, it's always a good one to get a view of, and this is what it looked like at about 4:30 p.m. A gorgeous sunset snapshot. And here through the next couple of days, this is pretty much going to be the trend. With in and out clouds, we have gorgeous evenings in store for us, at least some of the views. But today, there have been some sprinkles working their way through our Tri-County area. Now, this is a weak wave of moisture, and a lot of us aren't even getting this at the surface. Now, through the rest of this evening, if you catch some sprinkles, it's because of this weak wave of moisture, not really because of the next system. That one is still offshore. Now, when it comes to some of our cameras, as far as road conditions, we're not actually seeing any wet spots or even damp spots on camera. Even in the Cascades, it looks mostly dry when it comes to these cameras as well. But it is something we're going to continue to track. Meanwhile, when we look at the bigger picture, this line of sprinkles is stretched across much of the state now on our side of the Cascades. And when we zoom it out a little bit more, there's a ridge of high pressure offshore. This is going to partially build into the Pacific Northwest. So we will be somewhat under its influence through the next 24 hours, but our next system is well offshore, and you can actually see the warm front from that next system. That's also going to be impacting us. So when we switch from satellite and radar, which was a blend of infrared and visible satellite imagery and radar imagery also all put together, we're switching to infrared satellite imagery, and this just looks at the color. The colors show the temperature of the cloud tops, and right now we have this wave of moisture that's pushing through. Notice a lot of the clouds with this are a darker color, not as bright. Brighter colors mean higher cloud cover, and it looks like a lot of this is low level. Some of this, as this wave of moisture stalls out over the region, is going to settle and bring us another potential round of some AM fog. Meanwhile, further out over the Pacific Ocean, there's a stronger low pressure, and that's more over the North Pacific and Gulf of Alaska. That cold front, that's going to be the next system that rolls through the high desert. That happens Wednesday night and Thursday, and on the backside of that, a ridge of high pressure. This high pressure builds in as we wrap up the work week and go into the weekend. Just to switch gears a little bit, right now we are looking at water vapor imagery, also from satellite, and this focuses on where there's moisture in the vertical column, so pretty much off the surface. And we do have a little bit of moisture with this wave that's pushing through the high desert. Not quite a cold front. We're not going to get a dip in temperatures from it. In fact, by tomorrow, it actually warms up a little bit. Now, there is some dry air on the backside of this. That means that it's going to line up to where we're getting some in and out cloud cover through the overnight hours, and then we start to turn our attention to this next system that's way out over the Pacific Ocean. That's going to be the one that brings our next chance of rain. Some snow in the Cascades, just not a lot. And here's how it plays out. The wave of moisture that's pushing through pretty much dries out by 7 o'clock. A few more sprinkles still possible. Then we get our clearing. But in lieu of that wave of moisture, some pockets of fog start to develop. And then through the early morning hours, some of that's going to be freezing fog once again, just not widespread. Not quite for everybody, but we are retaining some of the moisture from this system that's rolling through, that wave of moisture that's pushing through right now. By Wednesday, we start off mostly sunny to partly cloudy. In and out cover is expected through the day, and then that next system rolls through. So let's slow that down. Let's go ahead and just look at this little by little. Between now and 5 p.m. on Wednesday, we have clearing and then some areas of fog developing overnight through Wednesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, we have increasing clouds. So that's why we have in and out clouds on Wednesday. Now, freeze frame, 7 p.m., showers west of the Cascades. Fast forward a little bit more to 10 p.m. and 11 p.m., some snow in the mountains, some wintry mix in the mountains, mostly rain in the lower elevations. And then Thursday night, this is when we're catching that chance for a wintry mix. A little bit of that still lingering over the high desert by Thursday morning, and then through the rest of Thursday we get clearing. And that clearing is as high pressure builds into the region. That was our high resolution forecast model. We've got a couple more coming up we're going to be looking at just to really get a hold of this timing, because one model is good, but when you compare several models and they're all lining up, that's a better indication that it's actually going to happen. Now, when it comes to relative humidity, right now we got moderate conditions, some high numbers, and remember all of these are in percentages. And it does look like some of that dry air is starting to impact, so the color's not really matching up with the numbers. However, we are looking at some of these numbers getting pretty high. When you get up to between 90 and 100% humidity, that's indicative of a cloud developing, and a cloud on the ground is fog. And tonight, temperatures are going to be cold, so that's why we're really tracking this potential for freezing fog, because it could produce some slick roads in the AM. Now, in the last 24 hours, we've topped out in the 40s with a few 50s on the map. That's right on target with our forecast. And through the overnight hours, it's just getting cold. It's already chilly with 40s and some 30s on the map. This actually represents a 3 to 11 degree dip in temperatures already. And this was the cool down that we were expecting. By this time yesterday, I was talking about a 5 to 10 degree dip in temperatures, and that's pretty close to what we have. Now, tonight it gets even colder. We're falling into the 20s with a few teens possible. Then by tomorrow, temps topping out on either side of 50 degrees. Notice we have 3 hours in a row where we're at or near 49 degrees. I actually think we're going to be topping out at 50 degrees during the early afternoon. We're talking during the 2 o'clock hour. Now, our future precipitation map does show that we are expecting rain. There is going to be a little bit of mountain snow, but this dark blue color here, like just outside of Medford and in the southern Cascades of Oregon, that darker blue, that's 4 inches. So even through the Cascades, we're not looking at much in the way of totals during that time frame. And our temperature trend shows best chance of showers Wednesday night and Thursday, and then Monday going into Tuesday, another system rolls in. So let's go ahead and time this out. This is one of the forecast models we typically use on air. It's just going out a little bit longer. It really covers the next 6 days. Not quite the 7-day planner, but we will get to that. So here through the overnight hours, we have a system that's still well offshore, and that wave of moisture that's pushing through the high desert. Tonight, in and out clouds, areas of fog. By Wednesday, some showers overnight and into Thursday morning. Freeze frame, 5 a.m. Areas of wintry mix possible, mostly for higher elevations, then clearing Thursday. By Friday, we catch our sunshine. And this is going to be the beginning of a calmer and warming pattern, where temperatures are going to be warming well above average for this time of the year, back into the mid to upper 50s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then Sunday night going into Monday, we see the next shift in our weather pattern. So let's look at a different forecast model and focus on what happens starting with Friday. As we're wrapping up the work week, we're back to clear conditions. By this weekend, sunshine mixed with some clouds. So we'll call it mostly sunny to partly cloudy, in and out cover. By Sunday, we start to see more clouds rolling in overnight. By Monday, partly cloudy conditions, and then watch what happens. That weak wave of moisture, that weak front fizzles out as it rolls in. So even that next system, the one that happens Monday and Tuesday, is not going to be that strong. Between now and Wednesday at 9 p.m., we are dry. So that sets us up for Wednesday night. During the overnight hours, we're looking at rain with some snow in the higher elevations, getting 2 to maybe 4 inches in a couple locations. And then by Friday at 10 p.m., we're drying out once again, and that next warming trend begins. Between now, a different forecast model shows similar conditions between now and Monday at 5 p.m. Not much in the way of changes. And by Monday, that's when that next system is rolling through. So even that would not bring you much in the way of precipitation. Winds in the last couple of hours, gusts have been between 10 and 20 miles per hour, mostly out of the north and the northwest. Actual wind speeds are at a light breeze, and they've been at a light breeze. They did get a little breezy at times through the afternoon, but not too bad. Through the overnight hours, back down to a gentle breeze, and then light breeze Wednesday, light breeze Thursday. And so I did mention that it could get breezy at times with the passing of this next system, but we're talking gusts up to 20 miles per hour, nothing out of the ordinary. So for tonight, in and out clouds are expected, 20s with a few teens possible in areas of fog. By Wednesday, we're talking 40s and 50s, so highs on either side of 50 degrees, and we do get some midday clearing. So we're starting off with areas of fog that lifts up, it dissipates, increasing clouds through the PM hours, and then some showers Wednesday night. Going into Thursday, a little bit of wintry mix possible, breezy at times. Remember, those winds could get up to gusts of 20 miles per hour. After this system, a warming trend sets up that brings us into the mid to upper 50s with some 60s. Then Monday and Tuesday, we start to see that next cooling trend. A cold front brings some rain and snow showers, and then by Tuesday, we're back into the 40s, back to closer to average for this time of the year. And the average high temperature in Redmond is 49 degrees. In Bend, it's 47, 48, depending on which sensor you're looking at. But as we go forward, our weather headlines for this Tuesday, November the 18th, include chilly days and a light breeze. Our next system, Wednesday night and Thursday, we're talking about a wintry mix during the AM on Thursday and PM clearing. As of right now, there have been some sprinkles working their way through the high desert. Nothing to get excited about just yet, but it might be just enough to where you're like, do I turn the windshield wiper off? Do I not? Other spots could be getting a couple of actual showers. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We will have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. We'll see you then.